looking at option 3 for the vocab, and the first thing I need to do, I'm using feel-good solutions won't solve climate change, and I'm going to look for a word that maybe I'm not totally comfortable with. Okay, I like this word, wind subsidies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. You don't need to copy it, but I want to show you what I'm working with. So we've got a blank document here. If it will copy for me, there it goes. And the thing to keep in mind with this option is option 3 is a little bit deceptive. Option 3 might look like it's super easy, but there are going to be words that option 3 just is not going to work for because we're working with Latin and Greek roots. And so if those Latin and Greek roots don't really exist, if there aren't really other words that come from this, like, okay, I see sub, I know sub is a Latin prefix, so that's part of why I chose this word, because I think it'll work out for me. But if I find out this doesn't work, I need to be able to say, okay, I either change my option or I do a different word. It's got to happen. So subsidy, okay, it's sum of money, got it. I know how that works. That's good. I'll need that definition later. I'm not going to copy and paste this line because I know better than that. Okay, I'm looking at this and it's subsidum, subsidal, subsidy. Yet that doesn't help me. This is not going to be a word that works because it doesn't have these Latin roots. So if I want to show you guys how to do option 3, I can't use my word subsidy. I need to find something else. So this is not going to work. You need to be able to cut bait with this one or change options. If I wanted to change options and say, okay, I'm going to do just a different option, that would be fine. But I want to show you guys option 3, so subsidies is not going to work. Okay, this word philanthropist. I'm wondering if this will work for me. This one might be a good one. So let me try that. It's another word that I'm not entirely comfortable with. I've heard it before, but I'm not sure I could use it in a regular conversation. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that philanthropist is actually going to work for me. Well, that's weird. It didn't actually give me anything. That actually bodes kind of well because it doesn't tell me anything. So what I'm going to do instead, let me try vocabulary.com. Sometimes that'll give it to me. The IST describes a person who does a particular action. Feel plus anthropos, man or mankind, so that holds out okay, and I don't know feel, but there's a prefix for it. This is looking okay because I'm looking here, it's got a prefix and it's got the suffix ist, and I know anthropos is man or mankind, so let me look up these different parts. So feel, and I'm going to put Latin prefix, feel. Okay, ancient Greek phila, love. Okay, so feel is love. So let me go over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to even skip my step of the definition right now because right now all I want to do is make sure that this word's going to work for me. But if I'm doing the work, I might as well have it pay off. So it said feel is one of it, and it said this is love. It's Greek. and then another word was anthropos. Okay, anthro prefix, sure, let's take that. Anthro may refer to anthropo, okay. Greek for human. Got it. So it sounds like this one might work for me. And I could put anthropo, but anthro should work. It's Greek again. And it means human. I think technically it means man, but it means man in the like mankind sense, not the gender sense. And then it was philanthropist. So it's got the ist at the end. So it's got the philanthropo. Philanthropist. And the ist, if I remember, it said it was a person who does something. So let's do the ist suffix. There we go. Meaning a person or one who does an action. Okay, now I've got this and I know it will work. I'm not going to worry about that being Greek or Latin or whatever. That doesn't really matter. But if that's going to work for me, I'm going to go back to my vocab exploration. And it says I need to look up a word and identify its parts, root, suffix, prefix. And you can kind of see that takes a little bit of time. There are some really good lists of prefixes and suffixes out there that you can look for. So I could do like common prefix and suffix. And what that might do is might clue you in, here we go, root words. So there. You might look at this and say, hey, any of these words that I see, and if it is, then you know they're more likely to work for this. So you can kind of look up those lists of prefixes, suffixes, you know. This one's a really good one. I like this one. I've done this one before. And it's huge. So you could see if this has the words you're looking for, and if they appear on here, it'll probably work for you. But then I need to look up a word's definition and how it comes from that part. So I need to get the definition of philanthropist. I did that. I used vocabulary.com. I like vocabulary.com. I'm going to show you something on vocabulary.com. Actually, I won't. Sometimes vocabulary, oh, actually I already did. So this actually is what got me onto the trail believing that this word will work for you. Because a philanthropist are wealthy people of a generous nature, concerned for human welfare, philanthropy, and they talked about it coming from Greek and Latin roots. So it gave me a good odds, gave me an idea that this was on the right track. So I'm going to copy this. Now, what I need to do here is I need to explain my definition, not like any old definition, but I need to say how it comes from the parts. So if I am going to do that, I can't just go paste. So what I probably want to do here is I know it's love, human, one who does an action. So it's going to be literally means, actually I'm going to go back, I'm going to say philanthropist. Literally means one who does an action, loves, I want to be careful, shows their love, now I want to clarify that. They show their love for humans. This is not some weird thing, not something at school inappropriate. They show their love for humans by giving money. So I'm going to add that. They do this by giving large amounts of their personal wealth to causes and people they believe will help others. I think I'm good with that. Notice, it matches this. A philanthropist is a person who gives money, large amounts of their personal wealth, or gifts, large amounts of their personal wealth, to charities or people in need, causes and people they believe will help others. But it kind of goes beyond that, and it does incorporate these terms. That's one of the things you need in that definition. The next thing you need is you need at least 3 other words from each of these other parts that use the same part and explain how they get their meaning from that. So notice that every time they're using means out of, carry, carry, carry. So I need to make sure I'm using that term. I need to see the connection. So, phile means love. What words do I know? I know a bibliophile. And that is someone who loves books. That's a bibliophile. Biblio, book, like biography, same thing. Phile, love, someone who loves books. I was a philosophy major, so I know that word. And philosophy literally means someone who literally it's not even someone, it's just a love of knowledge. Sophie actually refers to knowledge. I like this one. A philanderer. That's someone who cheats on people. So if I need to work that word love in, I need to say it's someone who loves, yeah, that might be the more school and appropriate word of love, use of love, multiple people at the same time. Okay, not literally the same time. That's a different word. But, and I'm going to put a little IE to clarify that. Cheats on people. But you've got that phil here, and it is being used that way. So philanderer is someone who loves multiple people. I've got air quotes happening here on that loves, because they're cheating on people. So that's a philanderer. Anthro, it's words that mean something about human. So we've got the word an anthropologist. And I know an IST is one who does. And I know logist, I know this is knowledge. So this is someone who studies humans, early human civilization, in fact. So I know the word anthropomorphize. I know morph is shape. I know anthro is human. So literally what that must mean is giving human, really it's human shape, but in this case I'm going to say traits or shape, because we're not really talking about walking around on 2 legs. We're talking about them talking, a talking dog, that's an anthropomorphized dog. But it's even like if you say your dog is sad. Look at how sad the dog is, you're anthropomorphizing the dog. And then the other one that I love is a misanthrope. And I know mis is not, and we're not talking about someone who's not human, but it's someone who doesn't like humans. And that's a misanthrope. And you can see again, the anthro is right there. Then I'm going to do one for the ISD too because I had it. So that's pretty easy. A dentist is one who works on teeth. That's the action they do. So actually I'm going to do a psychologist is one who works on the mind. An artist is one who works on art. And actually, that's all it would be. The big trick with this one is you have to be willing to find the words that actually have these Latin roots in them. It keeps going. Yeah, I'm only at M's. There are a lot of them. But if they don't have those, you need to be willing to say, this is not a word that works. I either need to change my method or I need to change my word. Okay, that's it. Hope that helps.